Hey, David. Hey, congratulations on your documentary, Mustang Saviors.
Thank you, Gig, so much. I appreciate that. It's very exciting.
That sounds terrific. I checked out your documentary. It's a beautiful story.
It's moving, it's touching. It's a lot of people that have different backgrounds and similar connections. And I got to meet really extraordinary people and follow and discover their troubles and solutions to some of them.
So tell us, what sparked you to do this documentary in the first place?
I Gig, I saw a push-up challenge that raised awareness that 20 veterans a day were committing suicide, and that made me aware of the that was not something I felt good hearing. I, in my mind, said, "What can I do?" And literally, like a boomerang or magnet, so to speak, things fell into place. A friend asked if he could get a ride somewhere. And I said, sure. It was really that simple. It was a horse place. And when I got there, I met the person in charge. And I'm a crew member right now. I'm in TV and film production. So when somebody asks me, what do? I answer that. TV and film production. You should do a documentary about this, is what happened. So an hour or two into this facility tour, I met veterans that were having breakthroughs when they work with wild horses. So I learned about wild horses in this place, and a couple of days later, it happened that I said, let's do a documentary, and I reached out to the program that I visited, and several years later, here we are. I just kept following the path though, and then pulled it off, so to speak. I mean, it was a very unfolding process. So that's the spark of it, though. It was something, a challenge thrown at me that I took on as something personal, and it really something came out of it. So thank you for having me to even talk about Mustang Saviors. It's something that's extraordinary that it just happened, and that's it.
Was there much convincing to talk with the facility and Broken Hearts to basically be a participant of this documentary?
That Bravehearts, they were the that was the place where I was visiting. So the woman in charge, Megan Hill McQueenie, she is the one who threw at me that I should do a documentary. So very willing, and helped me map out when I could be there to film who, for which interviews, and made sure the place looked great. And I got a couple days of me. It was them though setting the schedule though. They were very willing to showcase their program and what the value was they had with this magical combination of pairing up veterans with these wild horses. So they were very helpful, and part of the filming, it wasn't very planned out. Literally on a Thursday, asking would I like to be in New York on Saturday to film them. So I had to get creative on showing up to wherever they were to capture what they were doing. So, but they were very helpful and encouraging, and willing to, as I said, showcase the value that they have.
So the subjects that you speak to, the veterans, were they all set up by Broken Hearts, or did you basically chose a little bit of subjects and try to convince them?
Bravehearts were the ones who.
Bravehearts, yeah, I'm sorry.
The Bravehearts were the ones who set up those interviews. They had a few veterans that are that there were only so many that were experiencing regular visits, and that were going to work with what they were calling Operation Mustang. So there were only a select few within the whole veteran group that they do service. 1,000+ veterans. I don't know the exact number, but the amount of veterans that go through, there was a small percentage that they were working with these wild horses. So within that group, there were only so many. And so, yeah, Bravehearts, they picked the best, so to speak, to showcase. And not all of them were really very ready to share yet. When I first did this first set of interviews I did in July of 2016, there were 5 veterans that I interviewed, but there were more people that were in that program that after a couple of years of me shooting and being around, they warmed up to, okay, Dave, I'll do the interview for you, gritting through their teeth, but shared some of the most moving parts of the process that they were going through too. So it was just this one select group though, that where I was visiting, that's who we chose. And then within them, a few of them in the beginning, and then the process, a few more. So we get the depth of the different kinds of people that they have. And it's a very special process.
So for yourself, since you got to know a lot of these veterans, did you know seen the noticeable changes since since you spent considerable time with them, like in personality or the way they act?
I do see that the growth that occurred for a few of them, especially in that the steps of re-engaging back into life and being around their children more, and hearing these stories now of getting a home, that they're moving into a new home together. I've seen just, yes, they're flashing through my head. Just hard to say, specifics anymore, but it's been a very, and I've gone through growth as well and changes too. So I can attest that over the years of being around horses, people do tend to change for the better. That's what I can say for that.
So for you personally, you got to experience these horses and being around them for the couple of years.
I did. I really had to leave what I go pretty quickly. A lot of my time, I'm high energy and a mile a minute in racing. So in order to have a wild horse not run away from me when I have a camera, I had to dial back. And deep breaths and meditation I use, but I would consciously change myself as I would race up to get ready for a shot, and then I'd have to calm completely so I'm not radiating this energy that the horses pick up on. They're very intuitive and aware and heightened sense of awareness for these wild horses. So when I would come up on the group, and especially filming them doing rides or coming into where the stables, I had to really, go through that calming process. So it was a really beneficial thing for me to get around these horses too. Yes.
Did you try to train one of the wild horses, or you just stuck with the photography?
At my first visit, I got in the round pen with one of these horses, signed a waiver, put on a helmet, went in, and was invited to work with the horse. And I saw somebody else do it before, so I modeled their behavior. But it was an experience where you can influence a horse by where you look, and they taught that quickly. And so I got to experience that. After that, some of the shots that are the point of view shots of, you see there's a rider that you see the brand perhaps, and that's me riding the horse too. So I got to ride a few times. And every time they asked me, David, would you like to ride a horse? Yes, that was my quick answer. So I was able to get on a few horses during the time and ride a wild horse bareback after we'd ridden a while. Just got on and walked around. Just let him walk around. So it was neat to be on these wild horses and to connect with them too. So yes, it was good to be around these horses.
What feelings were actually going through your body? I understand where the veterans actually come from, because they came from a dark place. But like a person like yourself, where we don't come from dark places, but if we actually encounter wild horses, do we get a sense of similar feelings, or something that's entirely different?
I think it's and one of the veterans says it doesn't matter how, if you're new to a horse or you've been around them all your life, you get around them and your heart opens up. So I think it's that. Something about the electromagnetic field of the horse heart. And when you step in within the radius of it, your body can assimilate to theirs, or they'll, be frightened of it. So I hope I answered that question. Or if you want, please.
No, it's all good. I actually enjoyed the fact that you included the Bureau of Land Management's perspective on the wild horses. Why did you want to basically put that into where the horses actually come from?
Well, truth be told, I had an earlier version of the film that didn't have horse advocacy. They didn't have a voice. So all I had was the reason, really in depth, the reason why they rounded up the wild horses. So I actually peeled some of that back to share the experience the horses went through. And really, so I feel it is, though, we should know that the source of these wild horses are governmental processes and their decisions that we Americans have made, or earlier Americans, and the newer, generations can become aware that there are tens of thousands of wild horses still on the land, but also in holding pens that need a purpose. They need to get into space, either a new space where they can live in the wild or into society again. And reintegrating horse, I think, back into human life it's valuable, and I like to see more of it. Although we're very urban, I'm from Chicago, it's very urban, but if there's a way to integrate more horses into daily life for us, and I just think it's a better pace to reconnect with nature. I'm a big proponent of playing out in the wild, and so for me, including that the horses are in holding, and there is this whole controversial, two sides to how do we get these wild horses, and if we make different decisions, maybe we can leave the wild horses be wild and extract, or dare I say, extract less minerals out of the ground that disrupts the environment and disrupts the ecosystem of where those horses would be living. But now it's a big crater because uranium is valuable to a certain degree. But if we were to figure out how are wild horses more valuable than, the reasons why we take them off. So I felt it's very important to include where we get them, so we could, especially because we're already spending money on wild horses and holding them in certain places, and we're spending money on veteran programs already in the country. What if we pointed the two together? So I think that's important to take away, that we, as the Bureau of Land Management, have this organization that's within our government that we could direct better to help these wild horses integrate with the veteran community and more horse therapy programs. So there you have that.
Yeah, and just to point out for people who don't know, these horses are actually being treated pretty well.
Yes.
In these holding areas, yes.
That they are doing very well. It's just that they are inside pens where they used to be not, and that's the challenge of how long should we hold them, or if they're in this film hopefully is a good tool to show as a voice to one solution.
Absolutely. Well, let me leave with one more thought, David. When people watch your film, what is the one most important takeaway that you hope they walk away with?
I have to say, first that came to my mind, it's going to, I think, speak to different people on different levels. So, but to know there is a possibility that if we become more aware to integrate these programs we already have to help veterans and wild horses, I would like that. That's why I made the film, that to help veterans that were considering that option and to steer them another way. So, and for it to be available on demand right now is, as a whole, I'm very grateful to have found the way to get it out into people's lives. which is just thrilling. So for us to be speaking today about a film I made, it's surreal for me. So thank you, Gig, for taking the time to talk about the film.
You know what? Hey, it's not a problem. You made a beautiful film. A lot more people should watch beautiful films.
Thank you for saying so. I appreciate that very much.
Hey, thank you, David. Hey, appreciate it. Thank you. Next time.
Absolutely.